cause DJ Tank the war tanker.
Tonight, the son of a former prime minister charged in court today. We've got the details on this. This as a man is shot and killed in broad daylight. And later, 2 are killed in a traffic fatality overnight. Eyewitness News starts now.
Eyewitness News is brought to you by the new BTC. Fiber is here. Faster, stronger, more reliable. Together, we're unstoppable. Switch today.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Janae Noel. Thanks so much for joining us. Topping news tonight, the son of a former prime minister charged in court today with allegedly committing abortion. Our Tyler Sinnott has the details in our top story tonight.
Son of the former Prime Minister Dr. Eyewitness charged in the magistrate's court today for allegedly performing an illegal abortion on a 15-year-old minor. 43-year-old Dr. Jamil Minnis stood before Senior Magistrate Shaka Seville, charged with 1 count of abortion, where it's alleged he performed the procedure at his Harbor Bay clinic on a 15-year-old girl on September 14th. 2 female relatives of the teen, including the mother, also stood charged with abortion and 1 count each of conspiracy to commit abortion. To protect the identity of the minor, Eyewitness News will withhold the names of the 2 relatives. The mother and relative both stood in the courts with a solemn expression on their face as they were represented by attorney Heather Hunt. Dr. Minnis was represented by attorney Damian Gomez QC, who requested to see the medical records of the minor and the fetus. As a defense, Gomez said in order to commit abortion, a fetus must be alive, end quote. Attorney Gomez claims that Dr. Minnis did not know that the child or fetus was alive. Attorney Gomez also pushed for the process of the case to be expedited due to the case posing a potential threat to stain the accused's reputation as a doctor. The trio were taken to the Supreme Court for an emergency bail hearing, which was granted. Dr. Minnis was released on $9,000 bail. They will return to court on December 1st, 2023, to be served with a voluntary bill of indictment. Tyler Simonet, Eyewitness News.
Well, still talking news from the courts tonight, a woman was charged in the magistrate's court for allegedly falsely accusing the member of parliament for Mount Moriah, Mikel Barnaby, of indecent assault. 45-year-old Shawaki Simonet faces 1 count of making a false report. Simonet alleged that on August 23rd at 12 p.m., she was allegedly touched on her arm and breast by Barnaby at the Thomas A. Robinson Stadium. Police officials, however, confirming to Eyewitness News the identity of the MP involved. She is now charged for causing wasteful employment of the police, knowingly making a false report. Now, she was granted bail in the amount of $2,500 with 1 shorter and is required to sign in at the Nassau Street Police Station every first Monday of the month. She returns to court on December 11th. Well, the ongoing armed conflict between Israel and Hamas began on October 7th and has now resulted in thousands losing their lives while others are fighting to leave. Among them, 3 Bahamians, one of them, Zane Knowles, who has since fled the area. He spoke exclusively with our Laurencia Smith. Here's that report.
Yes, Zane left out of Israel. The next time I heard from him was when he was in Bulgaria. He got into Bulgaria, Sofia.
That's Peggy Knowles, the mother of 31-year-old professional basketball player Zane Knowles, confirming to us that her son has safely left out of Israel after 5 failed attempts to leave the war zone, as conflicts between Israel and the Palestinian military groups led by Hamas intensified. Eyewitness News spoke exclusively with Zane on Friday. He expressed his frustration with trying to get out of Israel. The country that he only called home for a month. He shared with us when he decided to join the team, he anticipated tensions, but not to this magnitude.
It's crazy because it's like I see things or something. Because when I was before I came here, I was it's one of the things I talk about with the coach. You know, even my agent and everybody's like, oh, it's never a problem. It's always small conflicts. The coach was telling me, everything's in the South I could be sure of that.
Despite trusting in God, Knowles expressed that he found himself in a flight or fright mindset.
In the beginning, when they were sending rockets to Tel Aviv, I was actually there. I came to spend my first night there. Went out, wake up, the rockets, there was explosion, and Iron Dome, it intercepted the rockets, but there was a lot going on, and they were saying not to go outside, and there's infiltration and terrorists. Some of them made it up Israel. Most of them was caught at the border, and I just got in my car and I speed. There was no cars on the highway, and I just speed straight up an hour back up north to my part because it was more safe there.
According to Knowles, he was one of 3 foreign players on his team.
It's crazy because I just came in and started the bomb with the guys, and when this happened, we had training on Friday. We didn't have training again until Saturday evening. It was Friday morning until I thought I heard the alarm again, until Saturday evening. And I just broke out Saturday morning, and I came back to our first meeting, and half of my team is gone.
The 6'10" center overseas basketball playing career spans nearly 10 years, and he says that the experience that he has gained overseas is priceless.
It's wonderful. It's not something like this. The stuff I experienced before was minor. It's just, something I could look back on and I was there, living in that moment when the big conflict happened. I'm hoping it's not the Third World War, that's been talked about for a time, America's here, but we'll see how it goes.
Knowles says he doesn't have plans to return home at this time. He's looking to join another international team in the coming weeks. Laurencia Smith, Eyewitness News.
Thanks, Laurencia. Well, in news from the crime beat tonight, a man out on bail for murder and drug possession was shot and killed on Market and DeVoe Street this afternoon, marking the 79th murder of the year. According to our records here at Eyewitness News, we're told that police received word of the incident shortly after 1 this afternoon.
It was sometime around 1:45 today when officers via shot-spotted technology were notified of a shooting here on Market Street. Information received is that the victim was walking west across Market Street when a black, small Japanese-type vehicle pulled alongside him. It is reported that 2 males, both wearing hooded jackets, both with handguns, exited the vehicle and fired multiple shots at the victim, which resulted in him being shot and succumbing to his injuries on scene.
That's Chief Superintendent of Police Kristen Skippings, who adds that the victim, who was being electronically monitored, appears to be in his late 20s. She's making this appeal.
Yet again, we make another appeal to residents of this community who may have seen or heard something. We're asking you to provide us with the necessary information so that we can bring this matter to a close within a short time.
Meantime, a man and woman were killed this morning, taking the traffic fatality count to 43. The tragedy taking place on East Street South near Calvary Deliverance Church. 2 others were also injured and remain in hospital tonight. Head of the Traffic Division, Chief Superintendent of Police David Lockhart, telling reporters on scene that the accident involved 3 people who were riding on a motorcycle and the lone occupant of a vehicle.
At the scene, officers discovered a vehicle and a motorcycle crash. As a result of that crash, 3 persons, 1 motorcyclist and 2 pillions on a 150 Yamaha motorcycle were seriously injured. As a result of those injuries, 2 persons were pronounced lifeless on the scene. The 3rd person was transported to hospital. The single male occupant of the vehicle was transported to hospital. His condition, along with the 1 female pillion of the motorbike, was transported also. Their conditions are unknown at this time.
While they are still in the early stages of their investigations, Lockhart had this to say when asked if speed was a factor.
May have, but I'm not prepared to go and say that it was, but it may have been a factor from just looking at the scene. We're saying to persons, please adhere to all the traffic rules and regulation as it pertains to the road traffic laws and regulation. We cannot emphasize that when persons are traveling at the night to ensure that you are adhering to all the rules, that is that you have on your seat belts, you have on your headlights, that you obey all the traffic rules.
Well, that traffic fatality count now jumping to 44 as police confirmed that there was another traffic fatality, this time involving a male American citizen, a 29-year-old from Tallahassee, Florida. That incident occurring around 6:30 on the island of Andros in the area of London Creek Bridge, which is the central part of that island.
On their arrival, they found a two-car collision. As a result of that collision, the male driver of a Nissan Juke received serious injuries and succumbed at the scene. He is a U.S. citizen, and the driver of the Chevy van is a Canadian citizen. She was shaken and taken to the clinic where she was treated and discharged. We are in the early stages of our investigation, and the cause of this accident is unknown at this time. The male driver is a contract worker working on Ortec, and the female works for one of the schools in Andros.
Well, a young woman tonight alleging police brutality following an incident that she says left her bruised and bloodied. She's calling for the officers involved to be held accountable.
That's it. Hello. That's it. Hello.
I feel like a dog, like someone who don't even have a parent.
20-year-old Shalonda Blank fighting back the tears as she recounted a tragic experience she said she had to endure on Friday past, allegedly at the hands of police. She says she and her friends were at a bar and there was a verbal dispute between her and another group of girls at the club.
I put my ball down, I walk outside, so when I walk outside, I thought my friends was behind me, they wasn't. I turned back around to find out they was held by the police, and the girls them was roughing them up, yucking her hair up. One of them yucked my friend hair out, and the police said no, none of them, they was holding all two of my friends.
Now, after making several inquiries with police, Blanc says that's when things got physical. Video of that incident also caught on camera, showing her face down on the ground with officers over her.
Policeman say, arrest her. He told that to him, not to me. He said, arrest her. And he yucked me by my hand so hard where my hand ended up screaming and all my hand hurt. And I yucked my hand back. So after I yucked my hand back, all I could remember is I was on the floor and the policeman had my head down, face down, all I was doing is tasting dust.
That's it. She don't come. That's it. Calm down. That's it. Yeah.
It ain't illegal. It ain't illegal.
Yeah.
It ain't.
Calm down.
No, I ain't with her, but it ain't illegal to record the officer.
I was telling them I couldn't breathe. I was crying. My mouth was bust up. Blood was on the floor. I telling them I can't breathe. Come off me. I was shaking, telling them I can't breathe. And that was that.
Now, another video showing the officers trying to prevent bystanders from recording.
It's brutality.
That's police brutality, my uncle.
Come on, boy. Don't delete that, boy. Hey, I have this. I have this. You see her face? You see her face? You see her face? You see her face? How they slam her mouth to the ground. You see her face? It's bloody. Don't put your hand in the way, officer.
Blank says she was bruised and bloodied, but was taken to the hospital by officers and was then held at the South Beach station for 3 days and also received several charges. She says she felt as if she was being treated inhumanely, and she's calling for those officers involved to be held accountable. Meantime, attempts to reach police officials were unsuccessful up until news time.
The doctor didn't even touch me. All they did was take my pressure. I didn't even get a chance to see the doctor, and they carried me back to the station. Told them my head was hurting. They ain't give me no painkillers. They was in there. All I was doing was drinking no water. As a female, I don't feel as though no male officer should hold a female if a female ain't there. Like, come on, you have kids. You wouldn't allow someone to see your kids on the floor laid like that, like a dog. To be honest, I feel as though I was in nothing.
Well, again, we've reached out to police officials. That interview, obviously, she was too distraught to continue. While an investigation underway after a student at the L.N. Coakley School in Exuma reportedly made threats to bring a gun to school after reportedly being bullied. In a statement, Ministry of Education officials said that a male is currently assisting the police in addressing this matter. The Royal Bahamas Police Force has further informed that the ministry have their investigations underway and that has not revealed any credible threats. Bahamas Union of Teachers President Belinda Wilson also speaking to this issue.
So this morning, that plan was executed seamlessly on the school's campus, and once that plan was executed, school went on as normal. The police was of the view that there was no imminent danger for the staff and or the students, and that all precautions would be followed. So I just want to say thank you to the area vice president and to the shop steward and to the police who and the principal, the administrator, the principal, who diligently were able to carry out and execute the safety protocols this morning on the school's campus. And as far as I'm aware, I checked with my area vice president earlier today, and all is well.
Residents in West End and Bimini are officially in campaign mode as a number of individuals began to throw their hats in the race to become the Member of Parliament for that constituency. This in the wake of the former area MP Obie Wilchcombe's sudden passing last month. In a statement released just moments before news, the Free National Movement has confirmed that they will accept party nominees for candidacy until tomorrow, October 17th at 5 p.m. Amidst this, hopefuls associated with the Progressive Liberal Party and the Coalition of Independents have already hit the ground. Our Jose Etienne has the details in this report.
With a by-election looming, the wheels of the political machinery turning in Grand Bahama over the weekend, as hopefuls for the West End and Bimini seat were on the ground in the nation's second city of Freeport, Grand Bahama, less than 24 hours after former Minister Obie Wilchcombe was buried in his constituency of West End, despite PLP Chairman Fred Mitchell declaring that no former MP would be given the nomination. Former Cabinet Minister Shane Gibson was on the ground campaigning for the seat, noting that he was the people's choice.
I have decided to agree with you to take them action. This is what we call the people's choice. Yeah. You can have it two ways. You can either have the party's choice or the people's choice. Yeah.
Former MP Leslie Miller was also on the ground in support of Gibson as he was met with an enthusiastic crowd. Coalition of Independents leader Lincoln Bain was also voted on by his party members. The announcement made on the party's social media pages on Sunday evening.
They wanted someone with connection to the community, but also someone who could go in the House of Assembly and joust and go toe-to-toe with these MPs in the House of Assembly. Someone who could represent in the community, bring justice for this community, and who could bring love and compassion to them. We considered many names, including our chairman, Michelle Green, and others. And the executives decided to ask me to take that position, to take one to the team.
Bain, who was in Bimini today, also appeared to have support on the ground.
Waiting on the road and to the radio. Think of sing one song and tell the people how long we waited. Lincoln then come sing one song. Tell them man you come to kill poverty, yo. Living in the rocks, you know, say things will tough.
The Free National Movement has not declared who they will put to run in the seat. This after former Prime Minister Hubert Ingraham reportedly advised the party not to contest the seat as the PLP has a history of wins for by-election. The last by-election was had when Ingraham resigned his North Abaco seat in 2012, and it was later won by PLP candidate Renato Curry. Now, Bishop Ricardo Grant has been rumored to run for the FNM in West Grand Bahama and Bimini, a seat previously held by former FNM MP Pakeisha Parker Edgecombe, who beat out Welchcombe in 2017. Welchcombe reclaimed the seat in the 2021 snap elections. Meantime, the PLP will accept nominations up until midnight on October 17th.
The PLP announced yesterday that it will be accepting applications from members of the PLP in good standing as possible nominees in the by-election schedule for West Grand Bahama and Bimini. The decision of the party is one in its absolute discretion. All aspirants must express their interest by Tuesday, 17th October 2023 at midnight. We promise the people of West Grand Bahama and Bimini that they will get a nominee who is a fit and proper person in every respect and will bring a fresh perspective to Parliament.
Jose Atiye, Eyewitness News.
Well, beachgoers are expressing environmental concerns following the dumping of a substance near the shoreline adjacent to the Atlantis Resort. The pumping of a dark brown substance into the beach. The runoff of that substance can be seen draining onto Cabbage Beach. One beachgoer says the unknown substance also had an unpleasant stench and has prevented other beachgoers from swimming in that area. Eyewitness News reaching out to Atlantis Resort officials for comment on that footage, which was sent to our news desk. We are still awaiting a response. It's a developing story that we are continuing to follow. The official opposition demanding answers from government on a procurement report released by the Ministry of Finance, one that they're describing as incomplete. In a statement released today, leader of the FNM, Michael Pintard, highlighting several key issues that he says the opposition has with this report.
The Ministry of Finance released an incomplete procurement report. Even with it being well late, this so-called procurement report simply does not provide the required information that the Prime Minister is legally required to provide to the Bahamian public. Even in something so straightforward and basic, this PLP government has failed to follow the law in the presentation of this report in a number of instances. First, we have no information provided on any procurement from September 2021 to August 2022. Although the government still has a legal obligation to provide this information consistent with the law enforced at that time.
Controversy surrounding this incomplete procurement report underscores, he says, the ongoing debate over transparency and accountability within the Bahamian government, with the opposition now challenging the Davis administration to fulfill its legal obligations to provide full disclosure to the public.
This is not what the law requires. This is not what the PLP promised. We demand that the Prime Minister comes to Parliament at the next sitting with a full and proper procurement report showing all contracts by government, agencies, and state-owned enterprises for the period of September 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2023. The government must also begin to follow the law and put all relevant jobs out for competitive bidding and publish the contract winners within 60 days consistent with the legal requirement. It's long past time for the PLP to finally start obeying the law.
Well, if you've got a news tip or if you've seen news in the making, call the Ion News hotline at 397-6397. We also invite you to send your letters to the editor for publication on all of our social media platforms at eyewitnessnewsbahamas@gmail.com. And if you're watching on our Facebook or YouTube page, share your thoughts about today's stories in the comments section. We want to hear from you. We are just getting started in Eyewitness News tonight, but when we come back, an immigration union not happy with how their former director was handled. We've got that story coming up. And later, new customs officers to be added to the ranks. We've got more on that right after this break.
Segment of Eyewitness News is brought to you by Lucayan Car Rental. Great rental, great service, and great cars.
Welcome back. Here's a look at your Eyewitness News gas tracker. Shell will be getting the cheapest, $6.11. Esso coming in at $6.15. And Rubis, $6.17. You're watching Eyewitness News. A union president up in arms tonight as it relates to how he says the former immigration director, Keturah Ferguson, was handled and eventually replaced. He says government blatantly breached a court order that was previously put in place, but he says that authorities must be held accountable. Jose Etienne has the details in this report.
President of the Bahamas Customs, Immigration and Allied Workers Union Darren Brooks slamming the Davis administration for reportedly mishandling former Immigration Director Keturah Ferguson, who recently vacated the post amid controversy at the Immigration Department.
They have replaced a gazetted, permanent and fully pensionable officer with a contractually appointed person. So, ironically, Dr. Pratt was replaced by a contractually appointed person in 2017. And in 2023, he, who is now a contractually appointed person, is replacing a gazetted, permanent, and fully pensionable person.
It was reported on September 8 that Ferguson was allegedly placed on leave. However, weeks later, Prime Minister Philip Davis broke his silence on the matter, claiming that Ferguson left the top post by choice and not as a result of victimization. But that response by the nation's chief is not sitting well with Brooks.
If today Keturah Ferguson has a job and then tomorrow she does not have a job and there's no good or obvious reason why she does not have a job or being asked to vacate her office, what do you consider that?
He maintains that Ferguson was simply a victim of government breaking the law.
On the 15th of December 2021, the court ruled in favor of the union and issued a court order making that practice illegal, null and void, and of no effect. So essentially, no government can hire a customs or immigration officer on the basis of a contract. You should come up through the ranks, but that has not been happening. What we have done in the face of the government once again breaching the law and defying that court order, we have applied for a trade dispute.
Ferguson has since been replaced by William Pratt. He previously served as immigration director during the Christie-led administration. Prime Minister Philip Davis asserted that Pratt was brought back because, quote, the department required someone seasoned and experienced at this time.
The government had somebody that was operating in that capacity. Her name was Keturah Ferguson.
Here's what Brooks wants the record to reflect.
We have nothing against Dr. Pratt, but it is about the principle. The union cannot stand by and allow or facilitate through silence the breaching of the law and, of course, the defiance of this court order.
The union president is also concerned about the message that these kind of appointments send to the wider public service.
The positions that these persons would occupy would not give persons with the institutional knowledge, the persons that would have put in excess of 30 years, would not give them the opportunity to fill those vacancies. So you would essentially hinder or clog up the upward mobility of officers.
Now this comes as the opposition leaked emails purportedly written by Ferguson back in July in which she slammed former Immigration Minister Keith Bell for, quote, disrespecting the chair of the director. This, as some believe, the leaks threatened Ferguson's position and made her vulnerable to removal. Now Eyewitness News have sought to reach out to Ferguson, but those efforts were unsuccessful. Jose Etienne, Eyewitness News.
Meantime, President of the Trade Union Congress, Obie Ferguson, he's calling on government to remove Robert Farquharson as the labor director. This following claims that Farquharson has not been helpful in addressing a number of outstanding issues that they say persist. This as members of the TUC gathered this morning to voice their frustrations in a meeting and warned government that government must do what's necessary to ensure the union's concerns are being addressed.
He ought not be director of labor because, in our view, most of the issues we have come from him. He knows that all trade disputes filed must be heard within 7 days. He is the director of labor. That isn't happening. That's a fundamental problem. He is very much aware of that. All trade disputes must be heard within 7 days, not on the 8th day, within 7 days. If on that hearing, the parties weren't able to resolve their differences, he should ensure that there is a document that ought to be signed by the employer and the union for an extension of another date. Failing that, the matter is statute barred. And he knows that. So why would he allow his conciliators to complete a trade dispute form, knowing that it was filed on the 7th for a week, and he's going to set it up for another 2 weeks?
Eyewitness News reaching out to the labor director, Robert Farquharson, who asserted that so far labor officials met with the TUC and are of the view that both sides were making progress in addressing their outstanding issues.
Prior to the press conference, the Department of Labor representative met with Mr. Ferguson and his affiliates, and we gave him the assurance that all of the processes and procedures discussed in the press conference were being followed and were in accordance with the statute laws of the Bahamas. The second point we want to raise is that the issues raised at the meeting, which was held on Friday, October the 13th, among other matters discussed, was settled. And the Department of Labor was of the view that this matter was behind us. And finally, and most importantly, if there are any delays in the procedures related to that Mr. Ferguson addressed in the meeting this morning, it only occurs when there is an agreement for both parties. Both sides should disputes. Both parties, they agree on the way forward, and all of the necessary forms are stationed in the Department of Labor, and both parties signed these forms.
Well, following government recruiting some 18 nurses from Ghana to assist with increasing manpower across the public health sector, Nurses Union President Muriel Lightburn says that it may not be enough to help with the issues that nurses are grappling with hospitals across the country. This, as she previously told Eyewitness News, that nurses were on the brink of taking action after expressing concern with working conditions while reportedly being overworked. Health Minister Dr. Michael Darville telling reporters last week that officials are hoping to address these issues with the recent recruits, but Lightburn says that alone will not get the job done.
18 nurses from Ghana cannot fill in for the problem we're having right now in nursing. There is a shortage of nursing, and that shortage is not just from you have persons who are retiring, you have nurses who are resigning, and then you know how that is. So all of that is putting a void in the system. However, I believe if we want to be more proactive, we have a group of nurses called trained clinical nurses. And I believe that if our government, and if we could be proactive and we could train these nurses further with different in areas where, they can fill in the gap.
Well, according to officials, the last customs induction training commenced back in 2016. Today, the Bahamas Customs and Excise Department enrolling recruiters for the first class induction training ceremony as officials plan to address some future plans for the Customs Department. Chloe Stewart has the details.
It is fair weather and sunny skies as we now all breathe a sigh of relief and we celebrate the addition of 55 new trainee customs officers here in New Providence and 29 in Grand Bahama.
A red letter day for the Bahamas Customs and Excise Department today, enrolling over 70 recruiters in the first cohort for induction training. Participants included persons from New Providence and Grand Bahama. According to officials, this is the first class to be enrolled in the last 7 years due to natural disasters, a global pandemic, and a significant decline in employee reduction. Officials reported that 39% of the national revenue was secured, which brings the total to $1.32 billion for the fiscal year. Acting Comptroller of Customs Ralph Monroe outlines the duties for the first cohort recruiters.
Over the next 20 months, you will be taken through a rigorous training period of classroom instructions, which will merely introduce you to aspects of the functions and procedures of customs. However, even beyond the first 2 years of your formal training, your learning will continue throughout your career.
Meanwhile, Financial Secretary Simon Wilson addressing challenges faced with the customs declaration systems as government continues to digitize this process.
We are continuing our work with the customs modernization effort on IT. I think many of you have heard about Click Declare and Exempt. We did the two applications that customs use. Click Declare is the application for declarations, and you will hear more about that from the IT folks and so forth. During the training course, we also have Exempt, which is an app. So when you come through the airport or through the seaport and so forth, you can actually send your declaration. We'll be doing more of that in automating the services of the department.
Despite this, he addresses a significant challenge which prohibits the Customs Department to operate effectively.
We want to have a concerted effort to get more males to be interested in the Customs Department. Obviously, we want a gender balance. It's very important for the department to function properly. Part of the plan is to look at our requirements for entry and also to find ways to bring in officers in and move them up to a certain standard.
Bahamas customs officials are seeking to enroll more males in the upcoming recruitment exercise. Chloe Stewart, Eyewitness News.
Well, in news from the public sector, after multiple complaints coming from participants of the government's 52-week employment program about late pay, the Minister of Labor and the Public Service, Pia Glover Roll, assures that it's an issue that they're attempting to rectify.
We are, as I've said so many times before,
working on a process of digitization so that these legacy issues of 52-week workers and workers in general having to wait on pay can be done away with. In terms of our payroll issues, it's still manual, it's still multi-agency in terms of public service does our part, the Ministry of Finance, and of course the Treasury has to do their part. So we are trying to work through the kinks, but like I've said before, it's no excuse. People put in a good day's work, they should get a good day's pay. Today, the 52-week workers that should have been paid on Friday past will be paid, and we're having meetings this week, all of our departments and agencies, to ensure that when the next payroll comes, there won't be this issue. I take exception to us having issues of late payment with our workers. So it's gotten better, but that shouldn't be happening.
Well, the minister also revealing that the last payment was made last week Tuesday, while another payment was due last Friday. She says some 1,400 workers can expect to be paid and that the government is not sitting on their hands over this long-standing issue.
Analyzing the process, I think we've made some improvements between last pay period and this one. We have meetings this week with the Ministry of Finance, Public Service, and Treasury combined so that we can address the issues that we noted has occurred. And you would know that every time a new cohort comes on, it seems to be some kinks when it comes to payroll. We have to do away with that. There's no excuse for it in terms of it being an operational issue. If we know that it's continuing to happen, we have to fix it. And that's the bottom line, so that we aren't inconveniencing our employees.
Well, the College of the Bahamas, the College of Tourism, Hospitality, Culinary Arts, and Leisure Management, it's kicking off its COM Week under the theme Bahamas, Hidden Treasures, Culture, and Heritage. It's the second annual COM Week. The University of the Bahamas puts intensive focus on COM, bringing together faculty, students, stakeholders, partners, and alumni to highlight the country's #1 industry. The week will be filled with special sessions, presentations, and also a number of activities.
The culinary arts transcends the realm of substance, embodying cultural diversity and transcending culinary boundaries, offering a glimpse into our identity. This week, we embark on a journey to delve deeper into these fields, to uncover the myriad of opportunities they offer, and to appreciate the nuances that make them truly extraordinary.
In acknowledging the growth of our hospitality industry, we pay tribute to the pioneers and notable Bahamians who have played a significant role in shaping it into what it is today. The likes of Sir Derwent Knowles, whose legacy extends beyond sailing to the development of our tourism sector.
Well, the Minister of Labor and the Public Service, Pia Glover-Roll, and alumni of the University of the Bahamas, emphasizing how important the hospitality sector is, not only for the development of the country, but the development of each student's possible career path.
This is where I thought preparing to build a career in tourism and hospitality, and I want to say that I spent over 20 years in the tourism and hospitality industry. I had no clue where I was going to end up, and especially not where I am today. But I understood that wherever I ended up, hospitality would be one of the paths to get me there. I know there's a tendency in our society to criticize our dependence on tourism. We've heard over the years people say, oh, why is tourism still our #1 industry? We need to diversify. And that's because I feel that people look down on service-based professions and service-based industries because they don't understand the power of service. They don't see how excelling and fulfilling the needs of others is the most valuable skill to have.
Still to come in Eyewitness News tonight, our Theo Seeley shining the spotlight on a member of the orange economy. We've got that story, but first, here's a check on tonight's weather forecast. on a regional reality design competition show. Here's that report.
Mission Catwalk is back. It's the biggest fashion television reality show in the region, where fashion designers compete weekly in creative challenges, and in the end, the winner walks away with a bevy of prizes. And just in case you didn't know, the Bahamas has made its mark on the regional fashion competition in recent seasons. Season 3, Bahamian designer Theodore Elliott brought home the grand prize, and Bahamian designer David Roll brought home the grand prize on Mission Catwalk's All-Stars not long after. Designer Novato Dawkins is now in the running on Season 7, which kicked off its grand premiere on October 7th.
It was a great experience. It was a great bunch of designers, and I put my best foot forward, and I think the country will be proud.
The reality show is now on episode 3, and Novato is still in the running, up against regional designers from
Barbados, Antigua, Jamaica, and Trinidad.
Let's rewind to July, when the journey started for the young rising star.
So I saw it on Instagram around our 50th Independence Runway show, and I said, let's apply. And I procrastinated and applied on the deadline, which was our Independence Day. And I got a congratulatory letter in 2 days, and I had to be out in 7. And I was like, okay, this is happening fast. What am I getting myself into? But it was a great experience.
And when the plane touched down in Jamaica to start the reality show filming,
anxiety started to creep in, and I'm just like, oh boy, I have big shoes to fill. I have Theo and David that already did so well, and I have to match up to that because I'm the only Bahamian. So it was anxiety, honestly.
The filming for the show is wrapped up and now airing weekly on One Spot Media app, which live streams from TVJ. And if you ask Dawkins, he'll tell you what the experience was like.
Oh boy, it was a roller coaster of emotions. Some days were good, some days we were tired because the hours were long. You were there from about 6 a.m. and you're not getting back home until 11. And sometimes you're doing 2 things at once. You're not focusing on one garment.
But in the end, he's grateful for his growth.
The biggest takeaway from this experience is a lot of growth. Although it was a competition, I really grew. And I tried a lot of new things. I stepped outside of my box. I didn't even stick so much towards just doing detailed gowns, which is sort of my aesthetic. I wanted to show something new and fresh and play with new things.
And his best advice to young aspiring creatives.
As a designer, as an artist or a creative, we have our highs and our lows. You have our high seasons and our low seasons. Just stick to it. And always try to set yourself apart and stick close to your aesthetic, whatever that may be. And don't be afraid of trying things new because, that may just be what makes you step apart from everybody else.
Dawkins, unable to tell us if he made it to the final cut just yet, encourages Bahamians to download the One Spot Media app to watch the weekly series live streaming from TVJ and to cheer on our hometown boy as he represents in grand style. B.O. Seeley with the spotlight on Eyewitness News.
Well, still to come in Eyewitness News, our Laurentia Smith has your latest check on sports.
Good evening, Janaea. The Junkanoo boys dropping 0-3 in the CONCACAF National League ranking after coming up short against Antigua and Barbuda over the weekend. I'll have those details from that match.
This segment of the news is brought to you by Hennessy, the spirit of sports in the Bahamas.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of Eyewitness Sports. I'm Laurentia Smith. Thanks for joining us. The Junkanoo boys were handed a 4-1 loss by Antigua and Barbuda at the Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium. Now, following that defeat, Team Bahamas finds itself as the sole team in Group D of League B yet to secure a victory or earn any points in the ongoing CONCACAF National League matchup. Head coach Gene discussed the factors that contributed to the home team's disappointing start.
Well, I think we had a game plan similar to their game plan. Obviously, they executed better than we did. Again, we continue to beat ourselves by making mistakes. I think once we can limit those mistakes, we can move forward and be better as a team.
The two teams left the Bahamas yesterday and landed in Antigua and Barbuda for a rematch. That game is set to play tomorrow. Moving on to the WNBA, Jonquel Jones' game high of 27 points and 8 boards was just what the New York Liberty needed to keep their finals dream alive as they defeated the Las Vegas Aces 87-73. This is the first game that New York has won since 2002 when the Liberty was swept by the Sparks.
I mean, just look at the crowd and the amount of people that support us, and it means a lot to us to go out there and play at the level that we know that we're capable of, and to fight for the entire game. So it definitely means a lot to me and a lot to our team.
Falling short for her 9th consecutive double-double in the playoff, Jones had 4 of the Liberty's 13 three-pointer shots.
Obviously, and having a level of intensity coming into the games, and fell short tonight with the double-doubles by 2, but that's okay. Just keep it going, just keep attacking the boards, and making sure that I'm doing whatever I can to make sure that we get the win.
They're set to play tomorrow night at the Barclays Center at 8 p.m. Finally, NFL flag football. Bahamas is gearing up for their Family Fun Day and exhibition game this Saturday at the Roscoe Davies Soccer Field from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m., according to President of NFL Flag Bahamas, Chris Padone.
A Family Fun Day, which will have free food and beverages for kids to come out and encourage them to learn the game of football and understand obviously how it works and all the different interactions, right? That's on the youth side. On the adult side, we're excited to have an exhibition game. We have folks from Miami flying in from the Miami Dolphins adult NFL flag tournament there. So they're flying in to participate and kind of help boost the engagement here in the Bahamas and can cause further enthusiasm around the NFL flag community in the world. So we're excited to bring these two nations together and cultures and have a great turnout, have a great excitement for it.
NFL Flag Bahamas was officially launched back in July. The Bahamas has become the first Caribbean nation to join the NFL Flag Football League.
Here was that we wanted to be able to find folks with hidden talent, so to speak. There's a lot of folks who have been playing flag football over the years, right? But there's a lot of people out there who have not been playing flag football who have the skill set to do so. And we want to encourage those people, both women, men, right, boys, and girls. And that's what this is for. We want to create the best of the best and build a dynamic organization here in the Bahamas.
The title sponsor for NFL Flag Football Bahamas is Island Luck Cares Foundation. Well, that's what's making sports at this hour. I'm Laurentia Smith. Thanks for joining us. Now stay tuned for more news right after this break.
News.
Well, that wraps up news at this hour, but coming up and Beyond the Headlines with Shanique Miller, she's taking a look at all of today's top stories: abortion, the by-election, and exactly what took place in a police station over the weekend. She's got all of the hot topics coming up and Beyond the Headlines. It starts right after this. That does it for us here at Eyewitness News. It's certainly been a pleasure having you in our company tonight. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Janae Nawal saying good night and be safe, everyone.
Still connected, still with you.
Coming up tonight, the gloves are off as the PLP favorite in the West End and Bimini by-election. Shane Gibson steps up to the party's chairman with some strong words. The West End area of Grand Bahama lit up at the weekend as aspiring and confirmed candidates hit the ground. The race now the most interesting in a long time. This is Beyond the Headlines, brought to you by Alive. Good evening. I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. As it stands now, 3 political organizations plan to contest the West End and Bimini seat in the by-election. The Progressive Liberal Party has not yet named a candidate, although Shane Gibson, former MP and cabinet minister, appears to be favored among the constituents in the area. The Free National Movement is putting forward Bishop Ricardo Grant, and the Coalition for Independence has stepped into the race. Leader Lincoln Bain has been named as the candidate there. Also, independent Tennille Burrows has also stepped into the race. Now, take a look at this video. This was the West End and Bimini area this weekend. A mini rally of sorts with PLP supporters, most of whom were wearing party shirts and paraphernalia, flanked Shane Gibson in a show of support for Gibson, of course, who you all know is aspiring to be the PLP's candidate. Now, Lincoln Bain spoke at the weekend about his intention to contest the seat. He talked about what's lacking in the area of West End and Bimini. Take a look.
With a by-election looming, the wheels of the political machinery turning in Grand Bahama over the weekend, as hopefuls for the West End and Bimini seat were on the ground in the nation's second city of Freeport, Grand Bahama, less than 24 hours after former Minister Obi Wilchcombe was buried in his constituency of West End, despite PLP Chairman Fred Mitchell declaring that no former MP would be given the nomination. Former Cabinet Minister Shane Gibson was on the ground campaigning for the seat, noting that he was the people's choice.
I have decided to agree with you to take the battle. This is what we call the people's choice. You can have it 2 ways. You can either have the party's choice or the people's choice.
Former MP Leslie Miller was also on the ground in support of Gibson as he was met with an enthusiastic crowd. Coalition of Independence leader Lincoln Bain was also voted on by his party members. The announcement made on the party's social media pages on Sunday evening.
They wanted someone who had connections to the community, but also someone who could go in the House of Assembly and joust and go toe-to-toe with these MPs in the House of Assembly. Someone who could represent in the community, bring justice for this community, and who could bring love and compassion to them. We considered many names, including our chairman, Ms. Charlotte Green, and others. And the executives decided to ask me to take that to take one to the team.
Bain, who was in Bimini today, also appeared to have support on the ground.
Waiting on the doorbell to ring. Lincoln Bain come sing one song and tell the people how long we waited. Lincoln Bain come sing one song. Tell them man you come to kill poverty. Yo, living in the rocks, you know, say things will tough.
The Free National Movement has not declared who they will put to run in the seat. This after former Prime Minister Hubert Ingram reportedly advised the party not to contest the seat as the PLP has a history of wins for by-election. The last by-election was had when Ingram resigned his North Abaco seat in 2012, and it was later won by PLP candidate Renato Curry. Now, Bishop Ricardo Grant has been rumored to run for the FNM in West Grand Bahama and Bimini, a seat previously held by former FNM MP Pakeisha Parker Edgecombe, who beat out Wilchcombe in 2017. Wilchcombe reclaimed the seat in the 2021 snap elections. Meantime, the PLP will accept nominations up until midnight on October 17th.
The PLP announced yesterday that it will be accepting applications from members of the PLP in good standing as possible nominees in the by-election schedule for West Grand Bahama and Bimini. The decision of the party is one in its absolute discretion. All aspirants must express their interest by Tuesday, 17th October 2023 at midnight. We promise the people of West Grand Bahama and Bimini that they will get a nominee who is a fit and proper person in every respect and will bring a fresh perspective to Parliament.
Jose Etienne, Eyewitness News.
Well, the Hot Topics panel is here. Justin or Carlisle, let me know if we have Shane Gibson there because we are expecting an interview with him. However, we're going to continue to move along this evening. The Hot Topics panel is here, and it's good to see you both. Good evening. Listen, are you all following at all this? Well, who can help, eh? You can't miss it. It's everywhere.
It's the only show in town.
No, it is the biggest show in town.
Show in town.
Absolutely. You all following and paying attention to this race?
Absolutely. We are. And well, first of all, we had a good weekend. You had a good weekend, Shanique.
I absolutely
did.
And
I met so many wonderful people who just wanted to tell you hello.
Yes.
Mr. and Mrs. Lorenzo Similar, who managers Fun over Paradise Alice, to tell you hello. All the people in Lowe's say, tell Shanique hello. And so, but it was a wonderful weekend. But Shanique, elections are in the air.
Election, listen to me, election is in the air.
You know who my candidate is?
Who's your candidate?
Peggy.
Well, I heard that. I heard she's considering.
Peggy, my candidate.
Yeah, I heard she's.
Yes.
I heard she's considering.
Yes.
I don't know, Peggy, if you want to make an announcement this evening.
Yes, I want to tell you that there are many people on Facebook who take you serious. And last week I was so amazed. I'm strolling up and I see me as a potential candidate.
You want to win or you want to win?
I'm not a part of that.
Oh,
I couldn't even find my way to West End or Bimini.
I'll tell you this, and in Jose's report just now, and I want to clarify that because I said that the Free National Movement had decided on a candidate, which was Bishop Ricardo Grant. Apparently, they did not officially announce that. I want to pull that back. I think it was the former member of Parliament who put his name out there, and so certainly I want to pull that back because the FNM has not ratified a candidate as yet in that West End and Bimini by-election. But you all, let's go to some strong words. We're just going to have to refer to the dailies because we were hoping to get Shane Gibson, and the reason I wanted to interview him this evening is to talk about what took place at that sort of mini rally in West End at the weekend. We saw the videos all over. And of course, to ask him about the words that he said in one of the dailies today. So here is it. Gibson says, Mitchell is out of order. I had to work, not just fly, have tea, coffee, and cigars. You all. How?
That's what I remember I said that. I said, you ain't need no special skill for that ministry. Shane is saying he had to work in the ministry. But anyway, listen. Shane is right because, like I said, whether you like Shane Gibson or not, Shane Gibson has a right to put his name forward. And the party should not discriminate or try to shut him out for various reasons, whatever reason. If you have some infraction that he did or anything against him, then you bring that forward. Yes. Otherwise, you can't say nothing. Let the man put his name forward because it's a democratic country. The party is a democratic organization, and he has a right to put his name forward. Simple. So whether you like him or not, see, it ain't got nothing to do with personal. So I try not to show any bias when I'm sitting in this chair. And so, just like anybody else, everybody got a right to contest the seat if they want to. That's just a democratic process, and make the people decide who they want.
Yeah. Good evening. Thank you for having me. When Mr. Gibson responded, and I saw it in this morning paper, I'm like, this is a strong man for even responding because people really seldom want to get in an exchange with the chairman of the Progressive Liberal Party, and the words were indeed strong. The words sound like those things the FNM is saying, all you do is fly, 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 but now he added the cigar, which make it twice as interesting. But if you notice, the language of the Progressive Liberal Party in their invitation for aspiring candidates has indeed softened.
Yeah, it has.
And so, yes, so I think Mr. Gibson's efforts are bringing forth fruit for him. He brought attention to what he and others who are paying attention will call discrimination against him. He address the point of age. You say, you could be talking to me, you 70 and I 62. I built 1,500 houses in my 10 years as the minister. You was flying. It takes nothing to get on a plane and fly and indulge in some cigars. Fred, that's shades.
Them fighting blows.
Those fighting words.
Yes, and that is why I started by saying, listen, hold up, the Guys, Shane is saying that he is waiting to come on in the interview. I don't know if we can get him. If not, we will continue on for sure. But those are fighting words, and the chairman obviously decided, along with maybe the association, to pull back on that and said that all candidates, anyone who's interested, obviously any PLP who is interested in being the party's nominee, has until midnight tomorrow.
But the position that the Progressive Liberal Party, through its chairman, had taken was undemocratic and un-PLP. We are not familiar with that. PLP would try to disenfranchise one of its own, especially a senior member of the Progressive Liberal Party. And so the softening of their position, I think, helps them, because people were already starting to look at them differently. And it sure indeed helps Mr. Gibson, who, like you said on the weekend, I mean, is like, he started without the rest of the people. You haven't motorcade in some parties he named their candidate yet? What?
Steve Shane is an experienced politician. Yes. So Shane's not making a whole lot of noise to get a whole lot of attention.
Yes.
To get the party started.
And did y'all see his T-shirt?
He has a T-shirt.
He had a T-shirt with 20 faces of Obi on it.
Smart man.
Yes.
Yeah, and so this again, you know, this is certainly the race to watch, not just who the PLP's nominee will be or end up being, but certainly the entire race. Do you all want to step out and perhaps look at some other, well, we can't really, because no one else has really named their candidate outside of the coalition for Democrats and outside of the independent, which is Tennille Burrows. So certainly, of course, we will continue to follow this. I see my guys sending me messages. We will continue to follow this. And obviously keep you informed. Listen, I don't know if I got you, Carlisle. Let me try again. Again, we are trying to get Shane Gibson in. He is still in Grand Bahama, and in Grand Bahama at this very hour. You all, I'll tell you this. We talked about it in the newsroom. He certainly has the support of Leslie Miller. Leslie Miller has been on the ground all weekend.
I saw a picture.
Not sure if he's still there. But again, these are veteran politicians coming together to say, listen, if a politician, and in this instance, a member of the Progressive Liberal Party, is interested in representing and obviously serving the people of a particular area of the nation, once again, they ought to be able to be allowed to do so.
And it's also, it appears as if he had the support of the former leader of the Progressive Liberal Party, the former Prime Minister of the Commonwealth, Mr. Perry Christie, who came out and said, you know, anybody, PLP, who's interested should be given an opportunity.
I think Christie was just trying to be fair across the board.
He was being fair.
You know, you can't just snuff out one over the other.
But what he did was speak out, which is important.
You got to speak out. See, you got to defend democracy. Wherever you see it being infringed, you got to defend democracy. But my thing is, you know, elections are a sacred thing, and you know, this exercise is going to put somebody in the House of Assembly to be able to look after the affairs of probably 1,000, 2,000 people, you know, and so we need to put the best foot forward. The problem is that we keep over time after time finding these hotbed candidates to run. They get elected and they sit for 5 years and we really get nothing from it. So we spend 28,000 times 5 for every year, and we don't get maximum from our dollar from these people, because we find at the end of the day the country is in a worse state than they got it. And so, you know, members of parliament are elected to solve problems, to bring resolution, to add value, to fix the crisis that we're facing. But what we do is we manage the chaos. That's all we do, is we manage the chaos, and we don't really bring no resolution. You know, because right now when you look at West End and Bimini, right? I mean, I'm not sure if you all been there, you know, and you say you can't find your way, even though I will nominate you, right? But you know, West End and Bimini, West End per se was perhaps one of the most exciting part of Grand Bahama. It had its own airport, it had hotel, it had a lot of things going on. It had, you know, movie stars and entertainers used to fly into West End for the weekend, and West End used to be booming. Now West End is just basically for Kong salad and one party on Saturday night or Sunday. And so really that's it. you know, we need to stimulate growth.
So
in
it's not really much happening there in terms of growth. And in fact, it sounds like it's regressed.
It is regressed. I mean, right now, I mean, they get some good Kong salad, and you go down there, you take a drive down there on the weekend, and then you go hang out for an hour or two. But West End is not what it used to be. And we need somebody to sit in the seat who can restore the former glory back to West End.
Shanique.
Because we had it before, and we can have it again. But we find these same people over and over who just sit there for 5 years and do absolutely nothing.
But Shanique, and Cassius, I want to bring a different argument for a fresh candidate, a young candidate, an unexperienced candidate. Everybody have a first day on the job. Everybody people go to jobs with no experience. It is about managing people. It's about managing your affair. So you don't have to be a manager in the House of Assembly or in Parliament to be a manager. You can have experience in your life managing and do well. But the only way we would know is giving them an opportunity. You know, there's a saying that we're using the same people over and over. There's a generation of Bahamians who are not giving their service because a generation of Bahamians who outliving most other people are still serving. And so the argument that you want somebody with experience, this person also bring baggage.
Yeah.
And so it is a balanced conversation.
You are absolutely right, Peggy. You are absolutely right.
I think I said in the last show, there's some 40 in their 40s and their 50s who can give this country great service if given an opportunity.
Listen.
And so the recycling of the same people from 1992.
Say it again. But you see, Peggy, the problem is, right, is that there are people who can bring great value to this country. They're always overlooked. They're never given an opportunity. And the people who don't do nothing are the ones who are making the most noise, are always chosen, and after 5 years we see absolutely nothing for what we put them there for.
But it's a reoccurrence.
But also, it is a reoccurrence, and you both make excellent points. However, though, are these people, the ones that you all pointed out, the 40s, the 50s, and I don't know, maybe early 60s, are they stepping up? See, because we can say, oh, we just see tired of the same names and the same faces, and they do nothing, just sit there and pad their pockets or whatever it is that they do. But are the ones that are so-called the future that should be stepping up and steering the nation or various communities in the direction they should head in, are they stepping up?
Do you remember the Bridge to the Future lined with young faces?
Exactly. What did they do? So what did they do?
No, it wasn't what they did. It was what was done to them. They were used.
Peggy, you say that again, yeah?
Let's
because
get back.
Listen,
They were used
to get there. And when they got there, they were overlooked.
All the wine came out the work.
They were muzzled.
I remember going to see John Gary, my good friend. I said, John was the parliamentary minister.
Why you bring up that Bridge to the Future?
But, John said, man, Cassius, they got me in the corner. Yeah, I only playing solitaire. I said, what you mean you only playing solitaire, John? That's what they did to him.
But if you look at
the nice face, young face, dynamic face, we want leadership. And when they win, you jick them in one corner.
You juke them. You make them PS.
However, though, it doesn't happen. Listen, let's just look at this administration then.
It happened.
We see no. We see some people who represented that bridge, like Jomo Campbell, like perhaps Pia, and Pia was lucky that she got a state minister post. Jomo was someplace else, somewhere. Didn't they step up and show themselves? And aren't they now substantive ministers? What I'm saying is, see, this isn't a free gift just to be nice so that we could say, the Bridge to the Future is working.
You using these young faces.
You gotta make it work.
You put these young faces and have the old shadows in the background just waiting. The truth is the truth. You have the young man in Andres. You have the young man in Nassau Village.
Are you convinced that they can really step up and...
They were elected.
They can't, listen.
They were elected.
Listen, we get some dynamic people in this country, yeah? The problem is not given the opportunity. We have statements, we have senior...
You don't even hear from them?
We have senior politicians like Ingram and Christie that can guide.
Yes,
and then, like Shane Gibson who's been there that can guide. And all these senior politicians can guide these young people because you're not perfect, but you use them as basically a pillar to guide the next generation, not to take the place of the next generation.
These young people have to stand up And like Miles Monroe say, if they ain't pass you got to start yanking these patterns out of these tight arthritis hands of these
Listen,
men.
after they're cold, they're on you and get another down.
If you don't fight for it and make your way there, then you don't deserve it. It's as simple as that. Exactly, it's as simple as that. Listen, when we come back, thank you. Fight for it if you want it. Okay, exactly. When we come back, you all, we're going to shift gears and we're going to talk about that viral video. I know you all have seen it. The two police officers and then the other two sitting in the back. Yeah, we can talk about it. This is Beyond the Headlines, brought to you by Alive. More after this.
Grammy, what's a common loftier goal?
Well, my sweet one, a common loftier goal is a shared dream that we, as Bahamians, achieve together. It's a vision of unity, progress, and prosperity for all of our beautiful islands. You see, a common loftier goal is about working together towards something bigger than ourselves. It is what we are always striving to achieve. Now, how we get there is by one small step at a time.
But our country is so small.
Well, hon, you'll be surprised what can happen when you believe.
You work hard to provide for and protect the ones you love. However, life can present unexpected challenges. Who you call in times of need matters. Insurance Management is a Bahamian-owned company that has been serving our community for over 40 years, offering a wide range of coverage for all of your personal, professional, and commercial needs. When life happens, rest easy knowing that our skilled and experienced agents are there for you in your time of need, so that you can get back to what matters most. Insurance Management. Nobody does it better.
Once upon a time, not too far away, CBS Bahamas was born. The year was 1973, and CBS stood before the Bahamas with the promise of becoming the nation's one-stop shop for home building and improvement, from bathroom nuances to paint, windows, doors, and kitchen cabinets. CBS was quickly crowned king by its customers. CBS Bahamas is one of the country's leading home centers, and your proud one-stop shop when bringing your new home to life. CBS is a leading supplier and installer of architectural building products, ready to equip your home with the perfect windows and doors. CBS's goal is to make your life and home build stress-free, so you can live happily ever after in the palace of your dreams, with impeccable quality and a price match guarantee. Feel empowered to live happily ever after with CBS. Build beautiful.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. Okay, so of course you all know how a live show goes, right? We're going to attempt to bring Shane Gibson in now just for a few minutes to just really get his response from what looked like quite an impressive welcome at the weekend, and obviously a mini rally of sorts, and then ask him about some very tough comments he made in the dailies today. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines. Shane, it's good to see you. Good evening. I imagine you're in West End at this moment, yes?
No, I'm actually in Bimini at this moment. I was in West End yesterday. I came over to Bimini today, and I'm doing some walkabouts, meeting some residents, meeting those persons who wanted to see me and talk to me, and sort of get a feel for the type of representation I'll be giving to them.
What is the response on the ground in Bimini? We have not seen video. We just saw a lot from West End, I think it was, over the weekend. What would you say is the response from Bimini? And obviously we will follow up, but what you're getting this evening?
Very good response. Very, very good response. We have a couple teams down here where they're going out in areas without me, and I'm hitting as many areas as I could personally. We have been getting very, very, very good response.
Okay, good. Now, the party sent out something, and I guess it's, as we said in the first segment, it's sort of a coup for you, a first little win, because the party changed its position, or the association, and said that any PLP who wants to nominate, send in an application to apply to be considered, can now do so by midnight Tuesday. Have you submitted this application as yet?
Yes, I've submitted an application already. I sent an email in first thing this morning because I wanted to be nice and early with my application, and they asked for a copy of my passport, a copy of my resume, they sent a biography, and also I sent them an official letter requesting to be the candidate in the upcoming by-election.
And any indication when that interview would take place? Because I understand an interview follows that.
Well, the only thing they said is that be prepared to be called on short notice, and so I'm not sure what short notice is. I'm not sure if short notice means they'll call me at 10 o'clock and they show up at 11, and then I'll be in Bimini and try to see how I can get from Bimini in an hour's time. I don't know what short notice means, because I saw some things on that that it was kind of redundant, but that's the way it is. The party, whatever choice the party makes, it is a final choice. Everybody knows that.
Yes.
And so I'm excited about it. People are excited about it. I'm looking forward to being the candidate of their choice.
And while you obviously said a minute ago, whatever the party's choice is, you will stand by that and honor it. You're not going away though with your tail tucked between your legs. If indeed that is what the choice, the decision is. You are saying, and quoted in the Daily as saying, Mitchell is out of order. And I will quote this part. I had to work, not just fly, have tea and coffee and cigars. What are you suggesting by that comment?
Well, I'm suggesting that my record speaks for itself. When I was in housing as the Minister of Housing, I built 1,500 houses in 5 years. 1,500 houses. And we're not talking about the houses that that were repaired in my ministry after those hurricanes during that time. And we're not talking about houses that we repaired during the urban renewal, because don't forget now, most of the key areas that the Prime Minister wanted to have implemented when he was there, the then Prime Minister Perry Christie, most of them he put in my ministry. When he wanted urban renewal introduced, he put it under my ministry. I got it done. I was working. He wanted houses built. He put it in my ministry. I got that done. I was working. He wanted the National Training Agency created. Mm-hmm. That was started in my ministry. I got that done. He wanted national health insurance started. He put it in my ministry under national insurance. I got it done. And so those are three key platforms, three key planks in the Progressive Liberal Party's time in administration, and three of those started in my ministry. I got them done. Mm-hmm. And so all I'm saying is I am a worker, I am result-driven, and I am a person who focuses on what I have to do, and I get it done as quickly as I could.
Well, I think that's you laid it out for us and for everybody who is watching. Certainly as a cabinet minister, your reputation as member of parliament is equally as impressive. I'll ask you about that in a second. But how do you respond to people who say, you know what, Shane Gibson, you're right, you got all that done, but you're a distraction? How do you respond to that?
Well, I had some, when I first ran for the BCPOU back in 1990, I think it was 1991, I had some persons who vigorously opposed me. Right, and I won as treasurer twice. They were vigorously opposing me. I won as president twice. They were vigorously opposing me, but that didn't stop me from running, and that didn't stop me from winning. Right, I have never seen an election yet where you didn't have people oppose you. Never, and most of the time it's the same set of people opposing you over and over again. And there's nothing. If I breathe, I'm breathing the wrong way. If I walk, they talk about how I walk. Everything I do is a problem for them. They just got a problem with me. What am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to be distracted. I stay focused. I'm on a mission to help people, and I'm staying focused on the mission. I'm not going to be distracted by persons who mean me no good. Tell me something good they say about me. Tell me the good things they say about me. They don't say anything good. Because they will find fault with every single thing I do, and I must be directed by them. That is not possible.
Listen, you have two other prospects that I've seen their names come up for the Progressive Liberal Party in terms of who are possibilities for West End and Bimini. What makes Shane Gibson the best man for West End and Bimini?
I had an often listen to a voice note by Minister Wilscombe that when he spoke after, when he was going through his challenges last time, and he spoke about what should be considered when you're looking at selecting a candidate, right? First of all, there must be a person who have already proven that they are a service, heart-oriented person, somebody with a heart and with a mind and a desire to serve. And so I started off in service in the union. That's my record. I have a record. I started off in service. I served union members for about 20 years, right? I then went on and served in Parliament for 15 years. When you look at my accomplishments that I outlined to you just now, those are indisputable, okay? And so if you look at my record and pick any one of the others, I don't want to call their names, right? But you look at them one by one and tell me what is their record of service and results. I mean, just give it to me. Anyone, pick anyone. Like, what was it this person did to show that they didn't just want to get involved in politics, but they wanted to serve people? Because politics is not about trying to create a profile for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
And politics is about service. And that's why you see some persons when they're elected, and you start them on the street, you talk to them about a problem, they become irritated. Right? And you wonder, well, why is this person talking down to me? You get almost the sense that they feel superior to you because they're not used to serving people. All of a sudden now they're thrust into this position with a title, and then they don't know how to respond to it. I am a person who I'm able to get things. I have no title now, no title. And I'm still able to get things done. The service is my life. I'm doing it from the heart. You have some people, the only time they can serve you is when they have a title. When they have no title, they're interested in serving you. And when they do have a title, they don't have the time or they don't want to be bothered with serving you because at the end of the day, they're looking at doing these things for another reason.
I tell you, you're quite convincing. We will continue to follow this race, certainly, and continue and hopefully interview you moving forward, and some of the other candidates as well. Thank you very much, Shane Gibson, live in Bimini this evening.
Just let me say this as well, Shanique, right?
Yes, go ahead.
I think what a lot of the voters have to recognize is there's going to be a lot of glitz and glamour during this process. You're going to have everybody from the top straight to mills, everybody's going to be coming at you. But when you see that election is over, the only person you have to turn to is your member of parliament, right? And so if you think that you will be dancing and having, listening to music and eating the best food and doing whatever with all these people around you, that's not going to happen. When all of the lights go off, the only person you have to call on is your member of parliament. The question to you is, who is that person you want with you when everybody else leave you? What is it that person can offer you all by himself?
True. Very good point. A good point to end on, and something very, very solid to think on, quite frankly, as you all continue to go through this process. And so I thank you very, very much, Shane Gibson. Wonderful speaking with you. Of course, we look forward to speaking with you again as the process officially starts and the campaigning for this by-election gets underway and leads into the actual by-election itself. Thank you very much for speaking with us from Bimini this evening.
Thank you, Shanique. Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much. Yes, Peggy, jump in.
I just listened to him. He is confident. He looks well. He looks like he's ready for the war. But one of the things that he has confirmed with me, I've said to people from the opposition, if you make this race about anything other than the needs of the people, if you think you're gonna gain traction by talking about Mr. Gibson's past, while he is talking about his experience, I think his experience and his ability to serve and bring results, like he said, will win over.
Will trump whatever you want to bring up.
Eclipse it. That continual rerun of the same newspaper clips, and you all know what I'm talking about. Do not make your campaign about those things. Make your campaign about the needs. I haven't heard anybody talk about the needs of the people. And so if you think, like I've been saying,
when did we ever care about the needs of the people?
Well, in this race, we have to start.
When did they ever care about the needs of the
It
people?
cannot be salacious. It cannot be entertainment. It cannot be, oh, he did this, he did this. Everybody knows.
Yeah. Well, you know,
and they don't care.
But you know how it's going to boil down. It's going to boil down into that very same thing. And it's going to be a boil down for tit for tat. I don't think the opposition has gained any traction to really build up the momentum to really contest this seat the way they need. This election is more emotional election because a member of parliament died in office and died as a cabinet minister. And so people feel more emotionally driven in this. So when they go to the polls, it can be more like we could do this for Obi because he died in the office. And so really and truly that
it's
going to be emotional and it's going to for the opposition.
Yes.
And so, you know, but had the opposition had some traction going, had some movement going, then they had something to run on.
But it is said that the person that was named, that he has been in that area
for 2 years.
Right,
since
working
election.
in the area now. Of
But
course,
I like
we have not
Pakisha.
heard.
What happened to Pakisha?
But
Pakisha, I guess, was told to stand down.
No, she said she wasn't. She support the person whose name
that she called.
Yeah, it was circulating. But one of the things that I've said to friends from the opposition is you spend so much time reminding us, but you're not informing us of any of your candidates.
That's true, because
we don't know who
it's
he
like,
is.
tell us what we don't know, but now what you're doing.
Yes, but
not really for anybody.
As quickly as possible, name your candidate and begin to promote him. Forget what the PLP is doing. Yeah. That is sidebar, that is entertainment. Don't put your effort on him. Who is your candidate? What do people need to know about him? And I've been told by one or two people that, oh, that's Grand Bahama business. No, it is our business because we're doing the talking.
You know, but I don't understand this thing where they try to say this Grand Bahama, this family. Well, listen, this is the Bahamas.
Yes.
And all problems affect us. And so what's going on in West End affects us in Nassau, affects us in Exuma. And so we have to be, because when you really look at Bimini per se, Bimini is one of those islands, it's 50 miles from Miami, right? And you have ships coming in all the time from Miami. I was there the other day, and I mean, you got 100 ships. But when I look at the part where the residents and the locals live, it's like a ghetto. And I was really crushed by that. And I was like, man, why don't we make this into the pearl of the Bahamas? You know, I mean, Ponce de Leon was there. They say the fountain of youth in Bimini, right? But we got to build on what we have. You know, when tourists come there, tourists want, listen to me, we got to build Bimini better than we get it. You know, it's just throw together. And so the next member of parliament, if I can give you all 2 years, and then I can be contesting our seat with somebody.
And don't.
We need good representation.
I try to be serious.
I ain't gonna bother with it this time, but listen, Peggy, if they don't do a job in 2 years, the next general election, we coming to restore.
And 2 years, I still ain't gonna know where West End is. Listen.
I can show you in the West.
Don't be manipulated by Mr. Wilchcombe. He's with his maker. You have a job to do. You want to win? There's some things you will have to talk about, like, is life better in the last 2 years? You're going to have to ask the question. Opposition.
But also, people live on hope. Right? People need to know that, listen, because of me sitting in that seat, my life is going to be better. The constituency is going to be better. The community is going to be better.
And that is what Gibson said. The MP really matters.
Yes.
The person elected really matters.
Listen, because right now I saw a top on the hospital building. And I saw the buildings dilapidated. I saw the roads flooded. I saw where the residents live ain't too nice in Bimini. But where the foreigners live was opulent and great. But you see, we need to be able to make sure that the entire island of Western and Bimini is a paradise.
Yeah, but
that's what I want. That's what I want for Western and Bimini.
And that remains under 2 years of Obi Wilchcombe. God bless
I almost want to say elect me, and
I hear you.
But I ain't ready yet. 2 years. I ain't ready yet.
I thank you both very, very much.
We finished?
Cassius and Peggy, I thank you both. No, you're all too big. You're trying to say you're all running for Bimini. That's okay. Keep that dream right there. Listen, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to shift gears and speak with a gentleman for a conference that's coming next week here at the Atlantis. He is in Barbados and he joins us live right after this break.
It's smart. Cancer pushes us. We push back, challenging conventional thinking, finding smarter solutions, like advanced genomic testing, a diagnostic tool that lets us see cancer at the molecular level, then helps us find different ways to attack it. That's what makes CTCA one of the leaders in precision cancer treatment. We're not just fighting cancer, we're outsmarting it. Visit our website to learn more about advanced genomic testing.
Grammy, what's a common loftier goal?
Well, my sweet one, a common loftier goal is a shared dream that we, as Bahamians, achieve together. It's a vision of unity, progress, and prosperity for all of our beautiful islands. You see, a common loftier goal is about working together towards something bigger than ourselves. It is what we are always striving to achieve. Now, how we get there is by one small step at a time.
But our country is so small.
Well, hon, you'll be surprised what can happen when you believe.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines, brought to you by Alive. Well, ensuring that the businesses and the economy around the Caribbean is certainly strengthened and that business owners are prepared for what's ahead in terms of trade and export. That is the focus of what Damie Sinanan does. He will be here in the Bahamas next week for a forum that promotes just that. In fact, that's really his work, going around the region, promoting stronger businesses and businesses that are prepared. Good evening to you, Mr. Sinanan. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines. It's good to have you here.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Let's just talk about next week and what you are planning on doing. I see the obviously the wonderful signs behind you, the export development for the Carib export. Let's just talk about that and how that benefits businesses around the region and certainly what you hope to do here in this country.
Yes, well, Caribbean Export Development Agency, the company that I work for, we are responsible for building the private sector across the Caribbean region. That's really our role and function. And we're also responsible for attracting foreign direct investment into the Caribbean region. So it's with that in mind that we're hosting the Caribbean Investment Forum, which will take place next week, 23rd to the 25th of October at the Royal Atlantis. So it's going to be a very grand conference. It's focused on attracting investment. We have a number of investors from around the world who are coming to the Bahamas. So we're encouraging the private sector in the region, and especially in Bahamas, to come out to the Caribbean Investment Forum for an opportunity to really do business with foreign direct investors who are here seeking to do business in the Caribbean region.
And obviously to have that networking opportunity. So it sounds a lot like a Shark Tank experience type thing, like the way you can present your business and show yourself up. Quite possibly you will have wonderful funding from these foreign direct investment opportunities. Talk about how important it is for our region to keep this flow going, where this new money is coming in to our various economies.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely important. I mean, the Caribbean region, if we have to be honest with ourselves, we're in a very vulnerable place. We've been so for quite a while. I know everybody likes to say since COVID happened, but in truth and in fact, it was long before COVID. We can't afford to do business as usual. The world is moving on. The world is doing business digitally, doing business online. They're investing in more green energy, more sustainable business practices. We as a Caribbean, our private sector has to catch up to that and even surpass that. And one of the ways to do that is attracting capital into the region from foreign investors. Not only capital, but know-how. And that is really what this platform affords regional businesses, a platform to network and interact with investors who can bring that capital into the region, who can invest in businesses so we can see growth, expansion, and increased resilience and economic development for the Caribbean region.
Absolutely. I wanted to ask you that, just what you talked about, the fact that business owners now must be creative and think of new ways of showing up digitally and in so many other ways, and that is so wide in its scope. What does your business do to assist businesses who are perhaps stuck, who use the fact that, oh, you're Caribbean-based as an excuse to kind of get into this space and maximize it?
Yeah, I mean, that's our bread and butter. That's what we do. That's what keeps me up at night. How can we help the private sector in the Caribbean region really exploit opportunities that are available for them? So we do a number of things. Through the generous support of the European Union, who are our primary funders, you know, we work towards building the export capacity of food. So we've done a number of technical capacity building programs over the last 10 years. We've done a number of work in Bahamas as well. Our partners on the ground, you know, SBDC Bahamas, the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce, we've worked very closely with them to bring a number of training programs, capacity building programs, coaching and mentorship, and grant funding. Because, I mean, we all know if you don't have the funding, you can't really make it happen. So we've given millions of dollars in grant funding across the Caribbean region. And we also expose businesses in the region to markets out there. So we will take them on trade missions, to trade shows, so they can, again, interact and do business with foreign buyers, foreign investors. And the Caribbean Investment Forum is the place we see to make that happen within the region.
Awesome. What does the business outlook look like for you through your eyes for the remainder of this year and throughout 2024?
It's promising. I mean, like I said, the Caribbean region, there are opportunities to avail yourself from the private sector. There's lots of opportunities out there. We have a number of competitive, I mean, all of us are small islands. You know, we're very small with the exception of maybe, you know, we're all small island development states with the exception of Guyana and Suriname. But we have opportunities. We have to do business in the Caribbean. You know, we are so well located to North America. Investors are looking for the Caribbean region as a beachhead to do business with North America and with Latin America. We have stable political environment. We have creative people. We have a very well-educated populace. These are things that investors are looking for. So we have the opportunities available. What we have to do is to make it known that the Caribbean is open for business.
Open for business, yeah.
Yeah, when you see foreign investors, they think the Caribbean, oh, sun, sea, and sand, especially in the Bahamas. I mean,
yeah, you bet.
That's why I would think. But we're so much more than that. We have so much more to offer. Serious business opportunities for serious business persons. And that's what we want to promote. And I think the outlook is good. But what we have to do, we have to get our private sector on board, ready, and engaged to do business.
Who should show up? Which type of business? Which business person should attend next week's conference? And then, of course, give us the dates for the meetings.
Yes. If you are a private sector firm and you are seeking investment and you are seeking business partners, whether it's within the region or whether it's outside of the region, if you're looking for export markets, you are the right person to attend. It doesn't matter if you're a large business. It doesn't matter if you're a small business. There's opportunities to be had. You just have to make it happen. So I encourage all private sector firms to come, if you can, come to the Caribbean Investment Forum, engage, network, listen, and form those partnerships.
Absolutely.
And it's taking place next week. Monday's the opening ceremony. We have the Honorable PM Davis, who will be delivering opening remarks. We have a number of ministers from across the region who will be there and attending. But I also wanted to provide, even though we have ministers, this is a private sector-driven event. You're not going to hear a lot of flowery speeches. You're not going to hear promises. You're not going to hear everything you've heard before. It is not a talk shop. It is a place for business people to
get business done and to access new business and funding for business.
Yes, and that's the message that I want to get. And next week, 23rd to the 25th at the Royal Atlantis.
Absolutely. I thank you very, very much, Dami Sinanan. Did I get that right?
That's absolutely correct. And let me just say one more. If you are interested in coming, the website www.caribbeaninvestmentforum.com. And as a special treat for this interview, for the next 24 hours, if you use the code Bahamas50, you will get 50% off a ticket. So I encourage everybody to CaribbeanInvestmentForum.com, code Bahamas50 for 50% off a ticket.
So you all, again, you heard that, CaribbeanInvestmentForum.com. Of course, the code Bahamas50 to get 50% off. It certainly is something to be in the room, to be able to access funding. As you have your own personal business outlook for 2024 and beyond, you certainly want to be there to access and network and be able to perhaps get funding and for your next project, or to keep this one and build it, make it happen. Thank you very much, Damie Sinanan in Barbados. It's good to see you. See you here next week.
Yes, thank you for having me, and have a good night, everyone.
Absolutely. Have a great evening as well. Thank you. And thank all of you for tuning in this evening. We certainly enjoyed having you along, and we look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow evening. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great evening, everyone.